Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
And we got Bezos to kick things off. And this is from Breezy Scroll. And the headline here, Jeff Bezos to dismantle 1927 Dutch bridge to let his $500 million super yacht pass.
Yeah. I love this. This is so good.
He's just, come on, man. The Dutch will have to dismantle a historic bridge to allow Jeff Bezos' new mega yacht to pass. Jeff Bezos' new yacht is enormous. It won't be able to sail out to sea unless a Dutch city demolishes a historic bridge. The 417-foot vessel is currently building in Alblasserdam, Netherlands, according to Dutch broadcaster Rijnmond. Once completed, it will need to pass via Rotterdam. Rotterdam is widely regarded as Europe's maritime capital to reach the ocean. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, there's not much to it. We don't have to break it all down, but the man is forcing.
Well, he's not forcing. He is requesting.
Yeah, requesting. And, requesting.
He has his new yacht. We've talked about the yacht before. The new yacht has been under construction for quite some time. It is, I believe, the most expensive yacht or one of the most expensive yachts ever built. It's a custom $500 million yacht. $500 million for a yacht. What in the world, else could he have done with 500? I can't even get it out. It's so much. $500 million. I mean, that is like a government budget for stuff. That's something you'd hear like in the Build Back Better bill snuck in there. We have $500 million reserved to like refurbish the Israeli embassy or something like that. It's a government level budget for his super yacht, which they didn't apparently think about when they started building it because it's too big to get out of the it's trapped by a bridge that is too short. They didn't think about this beforehand.
Why don't they dismantle the yacht?
That's a good point. It'd probably be easier to.
It would probably be easier.
Perhaps take off the the top layer. This thing is like 6 stories tall or something. Take off the top antennas or something. Now, this bridge, there's a couple little details about the bridge. It's a historic landmark. So it's not just anything. It's like a national treasure, this bridge is. It has been dismantled before because it was, I think, like in the 90s, it just wasn't safe. So they closed it down and they took part of it down. But then they put it back up as a national landmark.
That's more of a reasonable excuse to take down the bridge. Hey, this billionaire wants to cruise through.
Right.
Take the resources.
And that's kind of being the point, is he has requested that they just dismantle it, not destroy it, just take it apart for a little bit so he can get his yacht out of the harbor that it was built in, which is still insane. But can you imagine being a billionaire and having the
country, the nation,
the cojones to ask the country, a foreign country, not even your country, a foreign country to dismantle a national landmark so you can get your yacht out? It's just crazy.
I bet people are going to be throwing eggs at this thing as it rolls by.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He better, pay some security to keep an eye on that thing, because that's a great point.
Not a popular thing.
All those domestic terrorists throwing eggs at the billionaire yacht.
Yeah. All right. Well, the other billionaire doing work is, of course, Mark Zuckerberg. Bloomberg. Zuckerberg's Metaverse gets quiet rollout in Facebook-wary DC. Meta's team is laying out its vision for this imaginary world in calls with conservative think tanks and nonprofits. And I won't read the whole article, but it's funny. Mark Zuckerberg has a problem money can't fix. Convincing Capitol Hill that the metaverse, whatever that is, isn't evil.
This is very interesting.
His strategy is to start with a soft campaign to woo Washington insiders before deeply skeptical lawmakers begin to debate the controversial company's next act. This is a change of gears for a Silicon Valley behemoth whose early motto was to, quote, move fast and break things, and that outspent all its peers to fend off legislation to curb the dominance of big tech. Whistleblower blasted the company and its founder at an October Senate hearing, decrying Zuckerberg's outsized influence and calling for more regulation to stop the network giant putting profit above the public good. On the heels of that controversy, Facebook was rechristened Meta Platforms, Inc., and its Washington team is already working to lay a favorable foundation for the push into this potentially lucrative landscape before lawmakers and regulators drill into what kind of harm it could cause. Meta's product and policy teams are introducing this future virtual world to think tanks and nonprofits, according to people familiar with the discussions, holding conference calls in recent months to lay out the company's vision. And, I mean, we can go into more. The Koch brothers, and, you know, they mentioned some people here, and, yeah, the conservative think tanks and stuff. So,
yeah. I mean, it is, I do want to mention, of course, we've been talking about the metaverse for years, before it was even a twinkle in the eye of a mainstream corporate news person.
Yeah.
And the fact that one of the richest men in the world is paying teams of lobbyists to convince some of the most powerful men in the world to let him continue with his, evil plan shows just how real and just how influential this metaverse idea is going to be in the future.
Well, it is the big vehicle for the technocracy. I mean, it just is. If you, it truly,
we know that.
Yeah, we know that. I guess know it's obvious to us.
But to others, it might be not make a lot of sense why there's so much hype around it, or why such power. The types of men and women who are allegedly charged with the caretaking of the good of the people are so concerned about it.
Yeah.
And you just got to recognize that you may not understand it, but the players involved are giving every signal to show that it is one of the most important developments in the technocracy for a long time.
Yeah, and this comes at the heels. There's a big economic part to this. Last episode we mentioned how Diem, one of Facebook's crypto projects, they're selling it off for like $200 million or something. Basically, they're admitting failure because of some
formerly
Libra, then Diem. But I also think the metaverse, it is an economic play for sure, obviously. But you can do it through sort of more of a wild, wild west kind of thing with NFTs, and there's not clear regulation on is it art, is it money, and I thought it was hilarious to look at the stock crash, the Facebook Meta crash from the last couple weeks. They've been pulling back tech stocks. I think today it's bounced or whatever, but I always like looking at, because one thing to keep in mind with stock markets is it is sort of and I've heard this over the years, it's kind of like an emotion manipulator. So you can see sort of the public emotions and how they're reacting to certain news events and things like that based on how the stock does. And it's hilarious to see.
Or at least those of rich people.
Rich people, right. I'm not the whole world, but just, yes.
It's a gauge of rich people's ideas of how they feel the world is going.
Right. And I think something like crypto is opening that whole thing up to the rest of the world. You can manipulate people's emotions quite a bit if you go up and down with the Bitcoin price and things of that nature. So it is a tool for emotional manipulation. And I'm showing the chart here of Meta Platforms, Inc. for the last week. And it's just hilarious to see, just like, I don't know, some powerful entity decided, hey, we're just going to scoop a little out of this stock here, whatever.
Just a big chunk. What's the percentage?
Let's see.
Dropped?
I don't know. It fell from 322, right around 322, which is 322 there. And it dropped down to 243. So whatever that is, that's a
lost. What is that? Lost almost a
20,
third.
30? Yeah, I was going to say 30%.
Call it 30% ish. Yeah,
that's a lot in the regular stock. I mean, crypto. That's Tuesday, but
that is a cataclysm.
This is like an altcoin, a poop coin in the crypto market. That's what they do.
Yeah, it's a crypto swing.
It's a crypto type of swing.
That's the type of swing that you expect in a crypto market, not in a bajillion-dollar company that's been around, has a legacy and is, a sort of standard part of life. They usually don't move that quickly.
Or rugged, as the kids call it these days.
Was there a special piece of news? Do you know what caused this? Was there?
Yes, the earnings for Q4 when Facebook Meta came out with their earnings, they had lost a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. The Meta thing didn't really do well in at least the advertising side of Facebook, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's not monetized yet.
Yeah. So, I'm sure they expected it too. But yeah, interesting to always look at the markets a little bit and take the temperature of the people or the elite people and how they're responding to certain things.
Gauge how the lizard people are feeling.
Yeah, their emotions.